Thank you and welcome to the show this morning. The topic this morning is a profile on Andrea ALee, who is a candidate for the General Sessions Court Division 11, Division 10. I'm sorry, Attorney Lee. And of course, we have with us to talk about that Attorney Andrea Lee. Attorney Lee, let me apologize for getting the divisions confused, Division 10 and Division 11. Of course, you are for Division 10.
That's correct.
For the General Sessions Court.
Correct.
And let me tell you how delighted we are to have you here, Attorney Lee. And I say that primarily because we had an opportunity to hear you on one of the radio interviews and the kind of information that you gave in terms of children and that kind of information. We felt that it was the kind of information that certainly our audience ought to be exposed to, and from that point we made a special effort to make sure that we could at least have you here to talk about some of those things. But let's, before we get into some of the issues dealing with your candidacy for the Division 10 of the General Sessions Court, let's have you to talk about yourself and to have you to give our audience some information about your background, your education, and some of the other things that were important in terms of leading you to where you are today.
All right. I am a native citizen, lifelong citizen from Davidson County. I went to school at Meigs, and I always like to tell people it was in the good old days. I went to Meigs from kindergarten through the 12th grade. You started out at one end of the school in kindergarten, and you went all the way through till you got to the 12th grade. So that was when you could go to the neighborhood schools, and was within walking distance of my home. I lived in East Nashville. And so that's how I got my basic education. The school was primarily a family school. The teachers knew who you were, the principal knew who you were, knew your family. I was fortunate my father had previously gone to Meigs, so it was like going home for me. And after Meigs, I went to Tennessee State University, and I majored in chemistry. I have a BS in chemistry and a minor in mathematics. And after that, I was not really sure what I wanted to do. I had thought about going to medical school, tried one of the pre-summer programs at Haney, and decided that that was probably not for me, and started teaching in the metro school system. And one day I came home a little frustrated, as I'm sure most teachers are, because, you know, nowadays you don't get this type of support from the parents that you did in my day, I like to say. And I was talking to my father and said, you know, I'm really not sure this is what I want to do. So he said, well, you like to argue. Why don't you go to law school?
Law school.
And so I did. I applied. I went to the University of Detroit. I wanted a difference. I'd gone to schools in the South all my life, and I wanted to try something different, so I went up north. Graduated from there, but came back to Nashville. Detroit's a little too cold for me.
Okay. And so you came back to Nashville and took up practice here in Nashville. Now, what's your area of specialization?
Well,
what are some things you've been doing?
I started out in the public defender's office under Walter Kurtz, who is now a circuit court judge. Started there as a law clerk while studying for the bar. And after I passed the bar, came on board as a assistant public defender, and worked there for 3.5 years, and then decided to go in private practice here in Nashville. And went into private practice with some local attorneys, did that for a while. I'm a person who likes to try things, different things. And after being in private practice for a while, I got an opportunity to work in the district attorney's office under then General Tom Shriver, and worked there for almost a year. And then went back in private practice. And then in 1994, Judge Shukoff asked me to come on board as a referee, and I accepted that post and was there until December of last year, when I took a leave of absence so I could run for General Sessions Judge.
You know, Attorney Lee,